So thank you very much for having stayed throughout this 3-day, very intensive symposium program. And I think it was, in terms of the program, information, and experiences, knowledge shared and transmitted, it was really extremely rich and intensive. And now it's the time to also extract the most important messages and recommendations from each of the sessions. So with this, I would like to start the concluding panel session of the closing ceremony, in which all the session chairs will present the outcomes and conclusions of each of the session. I will not go in the order written in the program, but I will go in the order of the issues. So I would like just to start with the session on the importance of ensuring safe drinking water for post-2015 sustainable development, because that's the basis, that is the context, and I would like to myself report on that session. So one of the key messages of that session was that, yes, of course, the world community has done a great progress in terms of providing access to safe drinking water under the Millennium Development Goals. But the Millennium Development Goals had some issues to be considered further, because one of the key messages was that the access to improved water sources under the MDGs was not all 100% assurance in terms of the quality and safety of water provided for human uses. And also, of course, that's in that context, the importance of safe drinking water in the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals should be taken beyond and should really provide access to really clean and safe water. And it also, of course, we have to provide this to the entire population of the world, so universal access. The other important message of the session was that access to safe drinking water is not only important for the in the normal situations that we are used to talk about, we also have to consider these particular socioeconomic, environmental, and hydrological conditions. For example, we have to also consider the specific situation of the small island developing states, because small island developing states, they have really particular challenge in terms of how to ensure sustainable development being island states. Also, the importance of providing safe drinking water and sanitation services in island states is really important, because the large portions of population still do not have access, and it really requires integrated management, not only in terms of water resources, but also environmental management. The other specific context should be taken into account is rural areas, because access to safe drinking water lags behind in rural areas compared to urban areas. So it's really, there is lots of effort to be made in rural areas. And of course, we have to provide access to safe drinking water to all populations in all homes, but also we have another important aspect is all public places, including schools, campuses, should have access to safe drinking water. And I think this was also one of the best examples provided from one of our countries in Africa. I don't remember whether it was Uganda, yeah, Kampala. Yes, thank you very much. So these were the key messages. And then if I really conclude the key message from that session is that access to safe drinking water is key to achieve sustainable development in the post-2015, not only because clean water is essential for human health and ecosystems, because also it touches upon all the spheres of the society and human activities. So we should take this in the context of the broader Sustainable Development Goals. So without further going into detail, I would like to continue with our next sessions. And so our next session will be the ecological water quality monitoring of watershed, and Hans will present the key recommendations. How we will proceed is that we will have 2 or 3 slides for each session, and it will be a very brief very brief summary of 2-3 minutes maximum, and afterwards we will have interactive discussion with you about the overall conclusion of the symposium.